So on a previous video, I mentioned that that we happened to have been at a police station in Rio de Janeiro. And we met a girl there that got her phone stolen. She was sitting in the car, the taxi drivers in a taxi cab, and they were at a stop sign, or they were stopped, and the mom and dad were at the back, and she was in the front, and the window was rolled down, and somebody came along with a bicycle and just plucked that. I'm not sure if it was an iPad or an iPhone, one of the two, and stole it, took off with it. So there's a police station in Rio de Janeiro just for tourists, because there's so many fraudulent things that happen. In our case, we were ripped off on our visa. So we normally don't use Visa very often, but it was getting to the end of our journey, and we thought, oh, we should start using our card, because we've been gone for 4 months already, and it would just be easier to do that. So we took a cab from one of the sightseeing places. I can't remember which one it was. And when he made an extra stop. I needed to make a stop at this lake that had a Christmas tree in the center. So when we got in the cab, I asked him whether he would do that, and he did. And so then we moved on, and then he dropped us off. But the little sneaky bastard, he made sure he stopped on a busy intersection with cars behind him. So he handed over the machine. Well, he handed the machine to us, and we did the credit card interaction, and then he did whatever he had to do, and then he handed the machine back to us, and Floyd was right about to go. He put his pin in, he was ready to do something, and the taxi driver said, oh, just a minute, there's something wrong, I'm having trouble with it. So he took it back, and he did something. So we assume, we're not sure exactly how they do it, but we just assume that when we gave it back to him to fix it again, he put a higher amount. He put $5,000 in there, and we had just seen the other amount, and there's traffic blaring at us, or horns blaring us at the back, and he handed back the machine, but we assume he put the $5,000 in, and then entered, and then you put your password in. So we put the password in, and I said, can we have a receipt? And he goes, oh, I'm having trouble with this machine. I'm having trouble. And I said, well, we need some sort of a receipt of some kind. And so he quickly scribbled something on a receipt, a written receipt, and it was barely legible. And we got upstairs to the room, and Floyd said, there's something odd going on here. So we went into our bank account, and sure enough, $5,000 was taken out of there. So we called Visa right away, thinking that, well, if you call them right away, then it should be solved soon. And they transferred us to the fraud department, and they told us to get a police report. So this was on January 1st, and there was a lot of people in that police station, because Rio de Janeiro is famous for its fireworks on the beach, and so the place is crowded, and people have got their phones up, and people were losing their phones. The thieves were taking some people's phones, and so there was a 4-hour wait at the police station at Rio de Janeiro just for tourists. So we get the police report, and she says, because we used the PIN, they said it was not fraud, and transferred us to the dispute department. And of course, we're annoyed as hell because we're saying, well, did you not think that a taxi for $5,000 was unreasonable? You guys always call us when you think there was an unreasonable charge and say, did you actually do it? And why wouldn't you guys do the same now? And she said, well, that's because it doesn't say taxi on there. It says something, something gift shop. So, because we used our PIN, it's not fraud, and it's a dispute. And she said she was not sure if, she didn't think we were going to get our money back. But she said, did you get a receipt? And I said, yeah, I got a written receipt. So we sent the written receipt to them. And she said, there's no guarantee that you'll get your money back. So nothing, we filed a report, and we haven't heard anything about whether they caught him or not. But the police officer said they're familiar with that type of behavior, and that they just opened up a whole bunch of MasterCard, Visa accounts, and they just move on to the next person. That account was probably closed and a new account was probably opened. So we're in the police department, and we're listening to all the stories of all the people's problems and one of the worst ones was people walking and having their phone out and somebody grabbing them. What we did, we knew there was a problem with that when we arrived at Rio de Janeiro. So what we did is, if we need to pull our phone out, we either moved over close to the store front door, to the side in a corner somewhere, and Floyd would stand in front of me, and I would open up my phone and look for something. And there were times where if I saw two police officers standing there, I would just go and stand right between them and open up my phone and look up what we needed to look up, because sometimes we're looking up maps of we need to go somewhere, and we need times of subway and the maps. And so we were very careful, and luckily they didn't take our phone, but they did take money from our Visa. So months later, Visa credited our account, and we were very happy about that. But man, what a little bugger. I mean, that is so sneaky. That is so sneaky. So we don't use our credit cards for cab drivers, taxi drivers anymore. Not at all. If you like what you're hearing, press subscribe. I'm learning. So my videos are unedited. So I have a previous video where something dropped and I had to go pick it up, and I haven't figured out how to edit it yet because I'm new to this game. So press the subscribe button if you like the video.